Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Funeral service for Mr. Howard Graves Ellington, age 93, of Sylacauga, will be Saturday at 2 p.m. from Curtis and Son North. Military entombment will follow at Evergreen Cemetery immediately following the service. Visitation prior to the funeral from 1 until 1:45, also at Curtis and Son. There will be a reception at the funeral home in the event room of Curtis and Son Funeral Home after the graveside. Mr. Ellington was a World War II veteran, stationed in Company C, 302nd Infantry Regiment, 94th Infantry Division. He was honorably discharged in 1946. Memorials can be made to the B.B. Comer Memorial Library or the American Legion Post 45 in Sylacauga. Online memorials at CurtisandSonFH.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing the service. Funeral service for John David Fielding, age 78, of Alexander City, is Saturday at 2:30 from the chapel of Radley Smith Funeral Home, with the Reverend David Beard officiating. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Mr. Fielding died February the 12th. Visitation Saturday noon until 2 p.m. at the funeral home. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleysmith.com. Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mrs. Rosa Ann Burdett, age 84, will be Saturday at noon from Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega, with interment in the Oak Hill Cemetery. The Reverend Otis Graves will officiate the service. Visitation on Saturday, 11 until noon at the funeral home. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ursery Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Nathaniel Cook, age 73, is Saturday at 1 p.m. from Mount Olive Baptist Church in Sycamore, with the Reverend Nathan Ashley officiating. Burial in the Corinth Missionary Baptist Church Cemetery in Sylacauga. Visitation today, 1 until 8 at the funeral home. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga directing. Danny Cronin died Wednesday, February 13th. Funeral service will be Saturday at 2:30 from Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega, with interment in the Pine Hill Memorial Park. Visitation this evening, 6 until 8 at the funeral home. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ursery Funeral Home Talladega directing. Funeral service for Mrs. Norma Smith will be Saturday at 1 o'clock from Refuge Healing Temple in Lineville, Alabama, with Bishop Charles Hayes officiating. Interment in the Oldfield Cemetery in Ashland. Public viewing begins at noon. Zion Memorial Funeral Home, Sylacauga, in charge of the arrangements. Funeral service for Deacon Will Hilton Sparks, age 81, is Saturday in Tallahatchie Missionary Baptist Church of Childersburg. That service at 11 a.m. The Reverend Robert Duncan officiating. Burial in the Tallahatchie Church Cemetery of Childersburg. Visitation today, 2 until 8 at the funeral home, with the family hour from 6 until 8 at Community Funeral Home. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Community Funeral Home Sylacauga directing. Mrs. Eunice Gamble, age 85, died Thursday at her residence, Armour's Memorial Funeral Home, announcing. And funeral service for Mr. Julius Tuck, age 78, of Kelladon, will be Saturday at Early Rose Baptist Church in Alexander City. Burial in the New Elam No. 1 Baptist Church Cemetery. Visitation is today from 1 until 7 at the funeral home. Armour's Memorial Funeral Home, in charge of the arrangements. And funeral service for Mrs. Naomi Colvin, age 79, of Alexander City, is noon Monday at Great Bethel Baptist Church in Alexander City, with burial in the Armour's Memorial Garden. Visitation Sunday from 1 until 7 at the funeral home. Armours Memorial Funeral Home in Alexander City in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report is brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.